All right, lads, welcome back to me podcast, Cheaper Than Therapy. Mick Thomas here. How are you? Thanks for liking, subscribing, and sharing and coming on back. I do appreciate you. Also, get it wherever you're getting your podcast from. Also, you can watch it on YouTube. Watch it over there on YouTube. Interesting thing. Before I get into that, anyway, come see me. I got shows all over the place, but I want to promote May 18th, 19th, Atlantic City at the Borgata. One of my favorite venues. I go there about twice a year. Looking forward to it. Tickets are flying out already, so please come down to Atlantic City. Looking forward to seeing you at the Borgata, 18th, 19th. That's a Saturday and a Sunday. So come on down and hang out. So if you're watching it on YouTube, right, I do appreciate it. Thanks so much. Not many people do, but I have decided this is the last time you will see this. I think. I don't want to speak too soon. New studio is now being built. I am in the midst of it. I'm waiting on things which I have ordered. Whole new setup, whole new look, different vibe. I'm looking forward to it. And I hope you like it. Hopefully it'll just entice you to watch more. It's big enough if I ever want to bring in a guest, which I don't really do that often, but I might do that. I might bring in a guest, sit on the couch with me. What, a couch? Yeah, man, we're going to do it all. Mick Thomas is going to have to start wearing pants because from here on down, you know, I'm like Winnie the Pooh. From here on down, I am Winnie the Pooh. You know, which is a good job because today, after watching the new Deadpool 3 trailer that just came out, oh boy, I made a mess. Anyway, so yeah, new studio coming. Hopefully it will be up. Next week's episode will be available. And you know what? I didn't even take a penny from you, from advertising. So I have to start advertising now to pay for the new studio. It was a lot of money. It cost a lot of money. So this episode is now brought to you by the good people over at Plan B. Plan B for when your pull-out game is terrible and she won't do anal. Plan B. Just kidding. I got more requests this week. Hey, can we advertise on your show? I don't want to do it. I don't want to interrupt this show. I don't want to start off this show with commercials for things I don't believe in. Right? I have morals. I don't want to put things on my show that I don't believe in. Red Bull want to sponsor me? I love a Red Bull now and then. Throw one of those out there. I will advertise on there. Anyway, I have a lot to get into today. Today's episode I have to be very careful on what I say and how I say it. Now, the reason why I say that is because I'm going to talk about some things that I don't want you to ever think I have an opinion on this kind of, some of this stuff I'm going to talk about. Also, it's going to be a little bit about, I'll get into it and you can see for yourself, right? It's I don't know if you saw what happened. I remember I but I talked about maybe one day I'll talk about how Christianity, what's going on in the world, how it's under attack, especially in America right now. And this is not a conspiracy theory. I've done my homework on it. I've seen too many signs for me to kind of just go, all right, enough is enough. I now should just kind of speak my mind on it. So last week, it's so funny not funny. It's so weird that this happened. So I do a lot of stuff. I'm not going to talk really much about myself personally, but I look at a lot of inspiration through faith, right? And one of the people I follow online is a South African bishop, but he lives in Australia and he preaches from Australia. And his name is Bishop Mar Mari Emmanuel. Now, I know what you're thinking to yourself, who's your favorite bishop, right? We all have one. We all know who your favorite bishop is. Don't make me choose, Mick, please. But this man's message is always great, right? If you ever watch a video, just pull him up. Now when you pull him up, you're going to see the event that happened. But Bishop Mar Mari Emmanuel just goes out and talks about the simpleness of Christianity. The simpleness of it. What it means, hey man, don't do this, don't do that, you'll be fine. That's all it is. No judgmental. It's all how much he loves everybody. He calls out the US government on a lot of stuff. He calls out a lot of people on it, on their stuff. He calls out the LGBT people, but he does it with love. He doesn't call you out as in like you're doing something wrong. There's no judgment from him. He's a great listen, right? He's a great listen. So, and I'll get into that LG and all that stuff in a moment. I'll bring it back around a little bit because I'm going to get into something that's a little bit kind of, and you may notice it, you may not notice, you may not give a shit. But so he was at a service in Australia, in Sydney, Australia, and someone came up with him someone came up with a knife and stabbed him 6 times in the neck, or I think the face, down onto the arm. And he's fine. He's in great condition. And he was stabbed by a 16-year-old Muslim boy who, it's been labelled in Australia as a terrorist attack, which is nice, good for you, because normally they don't kind of, you know what I mean? They kind of, especially Australia being a big liberal country, a very, very, again, I'm going to try to change the word liberal. I'm trying to get better on that, because I think all good people within ourselves are liberal. Left-leaning, very, very far left-leaning country is Australia. And again, this is not, I love Australia, I love my people. I sound like Trump when I do that, you know what I mean? Like the way Trump wants to shit on a place, but he just says how much he loves it first. I love Australia, I love the people, I like everything is upside down. Terrible impression. I got friends in Australia, good friends. I got comedians who travel there all the time, who speak nothing but highly of the good people of Australia. It's just your government, innit? We got these fucking idiots here as well. So it's not the Australian people, it's of course your super left leaning government. So yeah, they did class it as a terrorist attack, which is great, which is nice to get that on record. But immediately it was a 16-year-old boy and who had a problem with the knife, and he ended up cutting off, I believe, 3 of his own fingers, because when he started stabbing the blade, the switchblade came back in and he cut off 3 of his own fingers. Again, that's what the news report, and that may have changed since I've done my research on it. But the great man of that Mari Mari is, while he was on the ground bleeding, he reached over, put his hand on this young boy's head, and he said, I'm going to pray for you and I forgive you. The problem is, outside there was thousands of people had gathered, you know, yelling, bring him out, in relation to the boy who had attacked him. And they wanted their own justice. But it kind of was sad to see that as well. I understand the anger, I understand the frustration. But to have the kid dragged out and you wanted to deal with it yourself is kind of the opposite of his message, right? And that we don't need to see that. But it kind of got me thinking. I've always been thinking, but that kind of really pushed it over on, should I talk about this? Should I not? And I decided I will. And I believe Christianity is under attack now. Now, what I mean by it, under attack, it's not, people aren't out throwing stuff at Christians. It's not hard to be a Christian. It's hard to live the life of a Christian, but it's not hard to be a Christian. We're not getting abused down the street. I'm not talking like that. We're not persecuted. I'm not talking like that. But it is, there's a lot going on now, because what's happening is politicians are now using Christianity as to identify the enemy. Much like if you've ever heard of a country called Ireland, we were ruled by the British people. The way to divide us up was Catholics versus Protestants, but not really. The Protestants just represented that team, the Catholics represented that team, but it wasn't really about Christianity. It wasn't really about Protestants, which is Latin for Protestant. It comes from the Latin word protestant, protest the church. It doesn't come from there, right? But that's what they used. So that's what the left are using now. The far left are using to, like, they're changing their wording. Like, if you go to MSNBC, if you go to CNN, they're coming at people and they're literally saying Christians, but they're not saying Christians. They're saying Christian nationalists. They won't say Christians anymore. It's Christian nationalists. Like, we have a name now, right? Which almost puts us into an organization, a group, a movement. Nationalist, you kind of don't. Are you seeing it? Here comes the nationalist. You think of a swastika, maybe. You think of fascist, nationalist. Like, it's up there with that word, right? Because they're very good at changing the words. The far left are great at changing the words. Like, you know, and I'll get to that. I have another point about their choice of words too. But so they'll go on CNN, MSNBC, and that's what they're calling people. Like, for an example, if you think it's not, you know, that's not the case, then they've, like, on Easter Sunday 4 weeks ago, there was a dumpster full of Bibles that someone burnt outside a church. They burnt it. People were inside the church. It wasn't a terrorist attack. It wasn't. They just lit hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Bibles on fire. They caught the person who did it, and they didn't charge him with anything. Not even, like, public disorder, right? You're starting a fire in a public place, but because it was in the dumpster, it was considered safe, right? On the grounds that they weren't invited to. they were let off. Not a thing, not even a slap on the wrist. Not even, hey, can you just get your burnt dumpster out of the way, please? Maybe they paid the $75 to the company, because that's all it costs to hire a dumpster. $75, and they came and took it away, right? Now, but then you go to Iowa and you go to, let me have to write this guy's name down, Adolfo Martinez. Adolfo Martinez was sentenced to 15 years in jail for burning a pride flag. Now, this is nothing whatsoever. This is nothing attack at the LGB people, gay people. It's not about that, right? So don't take this clip and make it about that. He burnt a gay flag. We'll call it a gay flag. Well, it's not pride. Let's be honest. We all should have like pride in who we. Well, pride's a sin. So he burnt a gay flag and he's gone to jail for 15 years. Considered a hate crime. But yet burning people's Bibles, the book that they worship, scot-free. Scot-free. Off you go. Carry on. Carry on. If you think that's not, an issue, then, and I have a troll account, I told you, and on this troll account, I am on these, liberal sites, and just watching how every single post now, they used to be about pro-Biden, all the great things Joe's doing. But Joe's not doing a lot of great things lately, right? He's really not. He's not doing good things, apart from lying. His uncle got eaten by cannibals. Like, at least he's entertaining with these lies. He's not saying like, oh, I gave $95 billion to the homeless. He didn't. He gave it to Ukraine again. I gave $95 billion to the homeless to feed them. That's a lie, right? This is like, he's out there now saying his uncles were eaten by cannibals. I was on an island, man. Come on, man. You were there. I was on an island. A big giant ape came up, and there was a girl tied to these two trees, and I rescued her. Uncle Bolsey rescued her, and then the cannibals got her, and the cannibals ate him up. Like that. So Joe's not doing much lately. So these websites, these pro-Biden pages are no longer pro-Biden pages. Now they have to go after Trump, his trial, which I'll go into another day when I find out a little bit more. It's only day 3 so far. So I get a bit juicy when we get more stories. But so now they're going to, every one of these posts are all about, and they're all stealing from each other. It's all about, Christians this, Christians that. And then you look at the music industry. The music industry now, and I get it. I don't think these people truly believe this. There's this whole conspiracy that they've sold their soul. And, but then again, you could look at like the 27 Club. Isn't the 27 Club the most remarkable story when some of the greatest artists of our time, of all time, not just our time, Amy Winehouse, Tupac Shakur, you ask anybody who's the best rapper of all time, in the top 3, Tupac is always going to show up. Kurt Cobain for Nirvana introduced us to a whole new genre of music. Genius, Jim Morrison. There was nobody like Jim Morrison. Janis Joplin. There was no woman out there like Janis Joplin who had that voice, who came in with that. I said Amy Winehouse. Jimi fucking Hendrix. Do I need to say anymore? Robert Johnson. Look, there's a documentary on Netflix. It's 40 minutes long. Just 40 minutes. That guy was one of the worst guitar players ever. He goes out into the road one night. He comes back 6 months later. He admitted he sold his soul to the devil. Now, again, it's a fucking, I don't know if he did or not. He admitted he sold his soul to the devil. And then all of a sudden, he comes back to, Google his stuff. Is fucking amazing. Robert Johnson from the 30s. You might listen to that music and go like, it's not really that impressive. But back then, that sound didn't exist, man. Didn't exist, but it's beautiful noise. Right? So the music industry has always been under kind of attack of, did they do this? Did they sell their soul to the devil? So there's all that talk. But then again, you look at, but I know that music industry goes through trends. Like all entertainment goes through trends, right? Superhero movies were the rage. It used to be dinosaur movies. It used to be the end of the world movies. It used to be fucking space movies, right? They used to follow a trend and a pattern because that's what works. But then you have artists like Lil Nas, Rihanna's now doing it. Justin Timberlake just came out last week with his new video where he sells his soul to the devil. Sam Smith, that fucking lunatic, that fucking irrelevant zilch. Taylor Swift calling herself a witch. So and I understand that's the trend and that kind of stuff too. But, and you can say all that, you can do all that, it's freedom of speech in it. But when you start going out there kind of like promoting the mockery of a religion, You know, like the mockery of religion, I think you're very cowardly. And you know why you're cowardly? Because, and this is nothing against my good friends, my good Muslim friends. I have two good Muslim friends. I'm not going to pretend I have a load of them, but I have two who I consider friends of mine. Peaceful. It's a peace, like, and I know people don't like this when you say this, but it is a religion of peace. It really is. It's just the extremists who take it to the further extreme. It is a religion of peace, like most religions are. And so it's not like, this is not against anything about Muslim or Islam in the slightest. But what was my train of thought? What was I fucking talking about? Oh, yeah. The bravery, right? You don't go after that religion for some reason, I've noticed. Nor should you, right? Like Louis C.K., and I'm a big fan of Louis C.K., he does this great bit where he goes on stage, but he takes out the Bible and he starts to take some lines and he starts pointing out, you know, like those lines out of context are very, very funny. That speech out of context you could make very, very funny. And Louis is a great guy. He's great at making gags at it and that kind of stuff. But I just find it funny. Like I say, okay, now Louis do the Quran, right? Now do that and see how, right? Let's see if Lady Gaga goes up on stage instead of wearing a crown of thorns and that. How about you go up and try and attempt dressing like the Prophet Muhammad? You wouldn't do it, right? So the good people of Islam wouldn't put up with that. But for some reason, it's okay to mock Christianity. You know, there's a town in Ohio. I forgot to look up the name of it. I didn't prepare, but I knew there's a whole town in Ohio that's been shit on by people online because it's a Christian town, and every Sunday they don't go to church because there's too many of them. They all meet in the town square and they all pray to God every day. And everybody's at their other call. It's a cult because it's just, you know what I mean? And they shit on them and they go, but go do that to... Go to a mall in any Middle Eastern country where hundreds of thousands of people in the middle of the mall will stop, drop, and pray because they worship their God, right? They worship God so much. Go to other countries where they stop in the middle of the day to pray. Go mock those guys. You don't have the balls to do it. But for some reason, Christianity does get attacked, doesn't it? You know what I mean? And what they'll do is they'll use it in because Christianity are the why. Christianity, what are they doing wrong for you? Well, they're making us feel bad about abortions. No, they're not. Like, it's Christianity has nothing to do with, and this is now, again, I'm going to say this before I go any further. What I'm about to say in this whole topic I'm about to talk about is not necessarily my views on abortion, right? It's not, it's on the laws that people are trying to enforce, right? That's what this is. So I don't want people like, oh, Mick is a pro-lifer, he's a pro-choicer, he's a pro-whatever. This is not my view. One day I'll get into my view on that kind of stuff. But for now, this ain't it. So I think they're threatened, and they think that because we have Christians, we have it in our Bible about the respecting of life and that kind of stuff. We have it written down, and then that's why Christians kind of feel like, you know, they when they speak up for whatever they want to speak up for, that makes politicians nervous, right? They don't like that. They don't like that we have guidelines and words to come by. So if that was the case, if they weren't doing anything wrong, and I'm not saying they are, I'm not saying they're not, but what they are doing wrong is how they're turning, they're like everyone's going mad about Trump, what Trump went ahead did and what happened in Arizona this week. I don't have time to get into that. Google what happened in Arizona, which has women up in arms, right? But what you don't understand is a few pocketful of years ago, Joe Biden said the exact same thing Donald Trump is saying. But he's the one out there now. He's fooling you, trying to get your vote. So he's just telling you what you want to hear. All politicians are scum. Said it before. So what else is he doing, right? So if they're not doing anything wrong, they're changing the word from abortion to reproductive rights. It's not reproductive rights. Let's be honest. You're fighting over it's an abortion or not. It's not reproductive. You can reproduce if you want. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the point. So they're changing the language, right? And this is what they're doing. And they're saying, well, we're doing it for women. Women need to stand up. Women need to be protected. This is the government. This is the Joe Biden administration. If Donald Trump's administration did this, I'd be shitting on Donald Trump's administration right now. But here's what Joe Biden's administration did this week. You might not know. It's not going to make any of the news. It's not going to make any of the media. But you can check this out yourself. Check this out yourself. So what Joe Biden's administration has done is they have rewritten Title IX. Why is Title IX, Mick? That sounds like something crazy, right? So once they have rewritten Title IX, let me tell you basically what it now means. After rewriting Title IX, and this is not just for Florida, because everybody goes after Florida, which I fucking love Florida, and coming down there in June. Can't wait to see you boys. This is not for Arizona. This is for the entire country. So the rewriting of Title IX, and again, fact check me. I'm a big fan of that. Look it up. The rewriting of Title IX, it says sex and I can't read my own handwriting. Oh, sex is equivalent to gender identity. So sex and if you want to identify as something, they're now the same thing, right? So what does that mean? That now means that it now becomes a law. It now becomes law, by the way. It can't be protested. It can't be open to debate. So now legally, men can now take scholarships and accolades from women from their sports, which we've seen. So now women, if you have a daughter, right? So this is where your women's rights need to stand up for. Is it really about, can I go vacuum a baby out of myself that I don't want? Or is this more infringing on your rights? That you can go out and try to get a scholarship. You have a daughter, you have a niece who wants to go to college. She's really good at lacrosse. I don't know, whatever the fuck she does. She's the knitting world champion. I used to knit, by the way. It's not a sexual thing, as in a gender thing. But then all of a sudden, let's say it's a sport, a physical sport, but a man can come in now and legally take that from her with no protest. No protest. So now that's what they can do. So they can take scholarships and titles away from them. Also, this is great. It legally means that men can now go into the bathrooms, locker rooms. So you could have a grown man going into a Planet Fitness. You can be 14 and be a Planet Fitness. You could be a grown man, just walk in and say, I identify as a woman. You just say it. And you walk right in, and legally, like a father like me who would walk in and pull you out by the nipples and beat you fucking senseless, I would be in the wrong. Now, of course, violence doesn't solve anything, but now, legally, that guy was in the right to walk into that little girl's bathroom and shower amongst the little girls with his mangina hanging out, right? So your kids now have to look at manginas. So yeah, dorms. So if you have a female dorm, you feel safer in a female dorm in college and university. Guess what? Boys can live across. Now again, you have co-ed dorms. That's not the end of the world. But if you have chosen as a female to stay in a female dorm because that's what you feel safer in, no more. In come the boys. In come the boys, right? So, and another part of that is too, is by the way, if you're a faculty member, or if you have a job, somewhere, this rewriting of Title IX means if a guy walks in, bit of rouge, bit of lipstick, and a sundress, beard like mine, walks in, and if you do not call me, if you're an employer, and if you do not call me a female, if you do not call me a girl, it's illegal, and I can sue you. So, when we talk about rights, you know, that the left, the far left are so behind women, protecting women. When also, why are you trying to make it harder for women to also buy beer mace in some states? Right? Guns, you can't let a female carry a fucking, right? Where's all the protection? It's Christians' fault. It's all Christians' fault. And that's why you're changing the language. That's why we're getting roped in. When realistically, listen, I could talk all day about my faith. My faith saved my life. I'll be 100% honest with you. And there are Christians out there who call themselves Christians. And there's a bit of judgment in it. You know who you are. I've done it too, right? Every day I get up and I try to be a good Christian. I try to follow the rules. I try to stay in my lane. But I'm telling you, man, the second I get into a car, all that shit goes out the window. It's fucking hard, man. It is hard. And I catch myself judging sometimes. Sometimes I'll catch myself judging a person. And I catch it and I go, nope, that's not my place. That's not my place. But now what you're doing is you're out there and they're making it something to be ashamed of. They're making it something that you should be embarrassed about. Something that you shouldn't be proud to be a Christian. You shouldn't be proud to pray. You shouldn't be proud to tell people. You shouldn't be proud to wear a cross, a t-shirt, a hoodie, a hat that has something on there about God on there. That's what they're trying to do. And they're going to succeed if we let them. They want to make talking in a town, because Canada's already started that. Make talking about God in a town square is illegal in Canada. So you don't think the US is going to be that far behind? Listen, go out and live your lives, right? Go out and live your lives. That's it. Be happy. Judge not, yet ye be judged, right? But Remember what they say. They are going to hate you. They are going to hate you because of my name. And it's starting to happen. Jesus said that. They're going to hate you because of my name. And they're starting to do it already. Because they're starting to use you to make you feel bad so they can legally try, because they know you're taking away from their fucking laws, right? You're taking away. They're using our Christianity, our faith, as something that's getting in the way of what they want to do. How they want to protect women when we clearly have just seen and heard that they don't give a shit about women. Listen, please go out and love one another. Try be patient, man. Just live your life. Be happy. Stop putting your faith in these politicians. Stop getting mad at these politicians. But be proud of who you are. If you have any faith, be proud of it. If you don't have faith, that's fine too. That is fine too. Right? Just let people fucking live and let live. Sorry, this was a heavy episode. I really do. I'm saying that, I feel a tightness in my chest. But anyway, I'm gonna go now and leave you with that one. Sorry, it's a bit of a bore episode. So tune in next week. Maybe I'll watch on YouTube with the new studio. I'm hoping it'll have it. I'm starting construction on it today, waiting on stuff to be delivered. So the construction aspect should be done soon. And then everything else is just tidying up. So anyway, thanks for liking, listening, subscribing. And as always, wash your hands, you dirty fuckers. Good luck to you. Good luck to you.